This week across the country, all eyes are on federal immigration enforcement after an ICE agent shot and killed 37-year-old woman in Minneapolis. For months, ICE and Border Patrol have blanketed Chicago and its suburbs. My next guest is launching a new initiative to hold those agents accountable. I think you're going to recognize her. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot joins me this morning to talk more about it. Mayor, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
It's my pleasure always.
So, the ICE Accountability Project is an attempt to document past abuse and conduct because of Operation Midway Blitz, which happened here last September. But it really is being fed by things happening all over the country, like Minnesota. So what led to this, and what is it you plan to do with this project?
Well, I mean, candidly, it came out of my own frustration watching what was happening and the amping up of, frankly, more outrageous tactics by ICE, DHS, and Customs and Border Patrol across Chicago in September. And in conversations with some folks, I just decided I can sit here and grow increasingly angry and frustrated and feeling helpless, or I can do something about it.
Do you really plan to focus in on just the Chicago area Operation Midway Blitz, or do you see an expansion of your efforts? I mean, I know Minneapolis, for example, last week, they're encouraging people, send in your videos, do things. I think New York has done something like this. Are you part of a network, do you think?
Well, certainly we're seeing similar kinds of initiatives pop up in other parts of the country. Our primary focus for this stage is on Chicago and Chicagoland, but we have built the platform so that it could easily be replicated or scaled up elsewhere. I am getting contacts from people, particularly folks that I know in Minneapolis, to say, hey, can you do something to help us here? So I think the opportunity for partnership, collaboration in other parts of the country is absolutely there.
I want to step away from this project for just a moment because you just mentioned Minneapolis as well. So as you know, the Trump administration has basically said, we'll handle this. And while the state or local district attorneys, lawyers, prosecutors want to take a look at what happened in Minneapolis as well, to Renee Nicole Good, they said, no, we're not going to do it. You're a former prosecutor. You get this. What faith do you have in terms of the federal arm of the Department of Justice?
Well, look, not a whole lot under Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, and Pam Bondi. And we saw yesterday Vice President Vance announcing that he was going to call for the appointment of an Associate Attorney General who will be in the White House, reporting directly to him and President Trump. Unfortunately, the independence that we've come to know over the many decades, and particularly with this U.S. Attorney's Office here in Chicago, just seems to be evaporating before our very eyes. For example, we had poor Mr. Gonzalez, who was killed back on September 12th in Franklin Park. Supposedly a federal investigation was ongoing about the circumstances. Immediately we got the reflexive statement from DHS exonerating the agents that were involved and demonizing Mr. Gonzalez, whose poor children now are orphans because his wife had previously passed away. We don't know anything about what happened there. I just do not have confidence, and I say this as a proud former federal prosecutor, one that did a lot of different work here in this U.S. Attorney's Office. I don't have confidence that under this Department of Justice that we're going to see an investigation that is going to call balls and strikes, particularly when we saw, for example, the Secretary of Homeland Security, within seemingly minutes of the incident happening, exonerating the officers, calling Ms. Good a domestic terrorist, Vice President Vance saying that the officer is exonerated. The more and more video that we see from that shooting, the less and less it looks like a justified shooting. But there's a larger issue at stake. Not only does it undermine any viability of that particular investigation, on a regular basis, federal agents of all stripes, FBI, DEA, ATF, and others, are working with local law enforcement. If you were going to say we don't trust local law enforcement in this instance, what does that do to that ongoing relationship?
Who's part of your project? Lawyers, investigators? What happens with this information? Because if the federal government calls and says, we'll take that, I don't think you're open to that.
Well, we're not going to give up our information that we're collecting to anybody absent a bona fide order signed by a judge, not an administrative order. But the people that are involved with this are people that I have known for many years. They're former federal agents, they're former federal prosecutors, trained lawyers and investigators, and a number of other people. My phone, as you might imagine, has been ringing off the hook, so to speak, since we made this announcement yesterday about reporticenow.com. I got to get that in. I think we're going to see people of goodwill from all around our region and, frankly, the country saying, how can I help? Because I'm already seeing that.
I was actually just about to say reporticenow.com, but let me ask you something I found interesting as I went to the website and looked at it. You're not being hosted by a local platform. You're using a non-U.S. platform.
Yes.
That's obviously intentional.
Yes, it is intentional for the very reasons that we've unfortunately seen platforms like Meta, Facebook, Instagram, others have been succumbing to the pressure of this administration to delete postings, to deny access to others. So rather than go through all of that and frankly lose valuable information that we're collecting in a centralized repository, we are hosting this on a non-U.S. platform so that we don't have that kind of pressure. And if the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi issued a threat when I did a soft announcement of this back in the fall, if they're going to try to come and threaten us, they're going to have to take us to court, and we are ready to handle that.
We live in a world of AI, of deep fakes, and all of that. So how can you be sure the information coming through to reporticenow.com is indeed valid?
Well, that's a great question and something we thought about from the very beginning. Part of our screening process is going to use software and AI itself to make a determination as to any images that have been uploaded to us have been totally created from whole cloth or faked. We have a first line of review that's going to basically determine, did this incident actually happen? Is this video that we've seen video that's connected? So we have two different layers of review in addition to the AI tool that we'll be using. Unfortunately, we have to assume that some of that deep fake is going to happen. We have to assume that people are going to submit information that's not going to be actually valid about incidents. But I'm hoping, frankly, the vast majority of the submissions that we get on reporticenow.com are going to be bona fide submissions from people that were out there in the street. They saw something that just didn't sit right with them, and so they're going to report it.
How are you going to fund this? And I ask that because it won't be long before people who want to attack what you're doing will start saying this is, whatever they want to say as far as who's funding it. Who's going to fund this?
Well, we are, we've had the generous support of a couple of different donors. We're going to be setting up a mechanism for individual donations as well. But we are doing this very leanly. Nobody's in this to make money. This is about doing the right thing and providing a tool and a service to members of the public. What I've heard from folks, even in this last 48 hours or so since we launched, is they are looking for a way to feel like they can do something, that they can take back control of what's happening and what they're seeing every single day on the streets. So they are happy to be supportive, and that makes me glad because really this is about public service.
All right, reporticenow.com is the website. Former Mayor Lori Lightfoot, you sure haven't faded from the scene.
Well, look, I'll be here doing my part. Private Citizen Lightfoot reporting.
And we'll keep talking to you. Thank you so much. Still to come on WGN-TV Political Report, with early voting around the corner, one Democrat is ahead of the pack in the race for U.S. Senate. Is it too late for another candidate to catch up? Stay with us.